You keep dancing with the devil.
Careful, boy. You gonna bite off more than you can chew.
One day he's gonna follow you home.
And here we go.
It's the comic book bullies.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
It's the comic book bullies.
You will bow down before me!
It's the comic book bullies.
Now I am the master.
It's the comic book bullies. It's the comic book bullies.
All right, give it to me.
Oh, we go. Oh shit, we're going already. Oh damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. The following contains offensive language and spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. I still believe. I'm totally wasn't ready, man.
Okay, I'm trying to get a groove on that. I don't know the groove. Let me stop this thing right here. Okay. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he was gonna go with that, but we're gonna keep going. Anyway, welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies Nurse. You believe me, host Leroy, aka Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Lakers in 5, with my co-hosts.
Yeah, this is Eli, aka I'm the member of the FBK.
There you go. Do I need to know what that is, or
Bad Brains, FPK, Fearless Vampire Killers. Oh. Okay.
And a third co-host, the Doombot, the AI.
All hail the Doombots.
Of course, we got to give a shout out to them. All right, so like I said, we actually got a whole bunch of show, and I know people that are clicking on this and saw the thumbnail want to just jump into it and want us to get right to brass tacks and get right to the business. So we're gonna do that. But before we get into that, Eli, we're gonna bring back the old classic. No, you know the classic. Wait, no. Let's do something first. Let's do something before we just jump into it. You know, no foreplay, anything like that.
All right.
Yeah. Want to give everybody a happy Easter. You know.
Oh yeah, I guess it was Easter.
Easter just passed. Yeah, for those that celebrate. For those that don't celebrate, also yesterday was 420.
Oh yeah, I guess that happened.
Eli, where were you when all this happened?
WrestleMania, son.
WrestleMania, and happy WrestleMania to everybody else. Everybody's true religion. So yeah.
If you could smell.
So everybody's preoccupied. I was watching NBA playoffs. So yeah, whatever. Everybody was doing something. I just want to just throw that out there. That's it. So yeah, now we can move on to brass tacks. Okay. So, like I said, we're gonna bring back a box office classic, and I kind of spoiled it for Eli. I'm just throwing it
there. Get us on track, man.
Get us on track. Okay. So, Eli, I want you to give it to me. We remember there was 2 movies that came, but there's been 2 movies that have been running away for 2025. I want to see if you know what it is. So, what is the number 1 movie of the week?
I heard it was a Michael B. Jordan movie.
Okay, let's see what we got. Well, whatever it is, it's a Warner Brothers movie. Let's do that.
Okay. It wasn't a Disney movie.
It was not a Disney movie. Disney kind of sucks right now. So yeah. So yes. I can't even see what I just put on there. Sinners. Sinners is the number 1 movie on there right now, and which it beat out a Minecraft movie.
Both. Okay. How long has Minecraft's been out? A couple weeks now, right?
Yeah, like 2 weeks, something like that. But yeah,
it's still doing strong numbers, I guess.
Yeah, like an obscene amount of money is putting on there like that. So we had to talk about it. So actually, we don't need to talk about it because we haven't seen it. But yeah. But the point is, Minecraft's kicking ass and got his ass kicked by a Michael B. Jordan movie. And the funny thing is, okay, so you saw the numbers, it was like 45 million or some shit like that opening weekend. So that is the biggest non-IP, non-sequel movie for this decade. The biggest opening for any movie this decade. That's not a sequel and not an IP.
Soon to be a franchise. I bet.
Soon to be. I don't know. I'd rather they didn't. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yes. I'm a chill Mexican dude. Shout out, poop to you too.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Lily, what's up? Lily been here. Lily been here before. Okay. They started piling.
Well, welcome back.
Yeah. All right. So that's what was going on right now. So yeah, we had Minecraft doing all these numbers. It got beat by Michael B. Jordan movies. That's a good thing right there. And yeah, the movie that it beat out was Nope. Huh? So Nope was 45 million.
Oh, you're talking about like opening day. Okay.
Yeah, opening day for a non-IP, non-sequel movie this decade.
Okay. I was gonna
No
say Nope
direction.
came out a couple years ago. What the fuck are you talking about? I was like,
No, right,
I understand you.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yes, that's pretty cool. So Ryan Coogler beat out Jordan Peele. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I've started to get a shout out to Lily. Yeah.
Oh.
She subscribed. Okay.
Well, thank you so
I started
much.
to do like a top 10 list. I started asking ChatGPT what was going on with that, but they couldn't answer the question. So I like screw AI. So didn't answer questions, but that's my main thing right there. So now that I got all that out the way, now we just jump into the review of the movie. Like I said, you came here to watch the review. We came here to talk about the review. A bunch of reviews going on right now, a bunch of think pieces going on right now. But I just want to throw that out there. And before we get into it, another thing I want to add also. Now, like I said, it's the biggest non-IP, non-whatever movie of the decade so far. And you got all these people complaining about that. Nobody wants to see original movies. Nobody wants to see anything that's not a sequel. They're complaining. You got people that don't want to see, people complaining because Black Bag or Mickey 17 flopped or some shit like that. I mean, they may be good movies, but at the same time, you still have to make a movie that people want to see. When you make a movie people want to see, people will go see it. That's how this thing works. It's a business. So yeah. Vroom vroom. Oh, yo, happy Easter. Yeah. I don't know why
Somebody remembered.
Yes. Lily remembered Happy Easter. We couldn't, but Lily did. Because Eli's true God is WrestleMania.
I'm a heathen. Yeah, what do I know?
Which we would talk about that also. That's an interesting thing that a movie called Sinners dropped on Easter. Am I the only one that thought that was kind of weird or whatever?
I guess you are.
I guess so. Well, I'm gonna talk about.
I guess you were the one who actually thought about it.
I guess I'm the only one that thought about it. I just thought like, why is that? Anyway.
Since I keep forgetting that it's Easter.
Right, because WrestleMania is your true God, and not your only true God. Also, Eli, there's plenty of people on my timeline that think the same thing. So, you need to talk about WrestleMania on the podcast. Well, we just did. Congratulations. So yeah,
it happened.
It happened. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna jump into the review of it. Like I said, I don't know what Eli's thought process of this movie is. What he thought about it. I don't know if he knows what my thought process is. So Eli, what I want to do before we jump into it, I do want to do a non-spoiler review. Okay. I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna let you jump into it and give your take on it.
Oh, you got some structure this week. Well,
I'm trying to be.
We're trying to be professional.
Yeah. I think I saw like a YouTube video on how to do a podcast. I'm gonna just,
I'm trying to put some of that stuff to work. It's been like 10 years. You figure we know what we're doing by now.
Know right now, but yeah, we're still winging this thing. So yeah. So what we're gonna do, review up front. And then we're going to break down theme, symbolism, blah, 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 all the stuff, all these think pieces that people are doing right now.
Yes, let's get to that. So hurry up. Let's do this. Because that's what I really want to talk about.
Right. Because the thing is, Eli, I want to know what you think about it first before we get there, because I need to check the temperature before we go down that road. I don't know if this is going to be a Star Wars Zack Snyder situation. I don't know, So that's what we're going to jump into it. So what do I think about this movie? So I'm just going to jump into it, just say some brief things about it. Like I said, I took notes. What's the notes? Fuck the notes. Let's just go to it. Okay. So Michael B. Jordan, if anybody had a thought about it or doubts about it, because I know plenty of people were doubting about it, dude is a movie star. Bona fide movie star. That's just, it is what it is. You can complain about it. He proved it. This movie, not only is he a great actor, he is box office. He puts butts in the seats.
Putting the asses in the seats.
He puts the asses in the seats. The box office proves that right there. So he did what he was supposed to do.
And there was 2 of them. So damn.
And yes, and a lot of people were thinking like, okay, yes, I understand it's 2 Michael B. Jordans and Michael B. Jordan's talented like that. Could that role have gone to somebody else? Another talented actor gave them some.
No, that's brilliance. That's brilliant business right there. You have the Michael B. Jordan for whatever your taste is. You know what I mean?
So if you want Michael B. Jordan, they're giving you 2 Michael B. Jordans.
You want like the bad boy Michael B. Jordan that'll slap the shit out of you after fucking the shit out of you, and you still love him. You got that one. You got the the good guy Michael B. Jordan with sensitive feelings and shit, who has flowers in his bedroom and shit. You got that one too. All facets of hot maleness
into the Michael B. Jordan. Eli, do you have a man crush?
I'm just saying, man. I read a romance novel once.
Okay.
I know that it's porn for women, and that they have dudes that don't exist in real life. So they
So yeah, okay. If that's what you want, yeah. If you the double the Michael B. Jordan of you have, that's what you have there. Yeah.
Whatever your fancy, you got Michael B.
That's
Jordan's got you
that's
covered.
honestly what I want to add to Eli, because the way he was playing the role, he was playing two different characters. And they was playing them so well, like even if they didn't have any like visual clues on them, like the hat or clothes, anything like that, you can still tell the character.
Yeah, they both had two distinctive personalities.
Yeah, and that's hard to do because it wasn't like they looked different. It wasn't like there was something on them that was different. No, it was just them. You could tell just by the personality they was walking. I was like, that's talent. I'm sorry, that's talent right there.
He's acting. He was acting.
Right. So give the guys props, give the guys flowers. You got to give him flowers like that. But even with all that going on with that, he wasn't even the main star of the movie. I felt like, I mean, like the protagonist of the movie, because he was a side character really to his cousin, Sammy Moore. That was the real protagonist star of the movie. The whole movie was about him, really. And the thing is that this was his first acting role. Like he was really like a singer. They hired a singer for this.
Okay, I was about to say, was he really singing? Because he killed it.
Yeah. Like he's a singer, but as far as like the guitar, he learned that when he got the role. But as far as singing, he was already a singer ahead of time before that. So I was like, that's pretty damn impressive. I mean, his first time acting, he's able to hold his own like that, And we'll talk about more about that also. Who is this?
Glazing.
Yes, Eli was glazing. Yes. Oh yeah. What else we got going on? So more people talking about one of my favorite people in this role was Delroy Lindo, even though I didn't get a picture of him like that. Yes, he stole the show. Like he was limited role, stole the movie, but he does that in every movie. That's just what he does now.
No, he was particularly like great in this flick.
Yes, like seriously, like he brought the comedy relief to the movie also, but he also brought like the gravitas to the movie also. Like,
it might be the favorite shit I've ever seen him in. He's been in a bunch of shit.
I mean, Five Bloods, they kind of snubbed him on that, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's been around. He's been in action. He's been in Spike Lee movies. He's been around. I've seen that. He's been in a lot of cool shit that I thought was already cool, but he was especially really good in this movie.
Yeah, anytime he showed up, he was a scene stealer in that one, so I was loving that one. What else we got? Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, people look at her completely different after this movie in multiple ways in there. Like people just thought she was like some kind of Disney princess. Was she on Disney? I don't know if she was on Disney or not.
I don't.
She feels like a Disney princess.
She was in the Coen Brothers movie. That's what her debut. And then Transformers, was that? No, that's Fox. Oh.
That's
she was in the Bumblebee movie.
Yeah, one of them. Whoever owns that, I don't know. The people that own it then might not even own it now. But yeah,
voices Gwen. Yeah, she's a fucking Disney.
She's Hawkeye.
She's Hawkeye. Yeah, she's Disney.
Yeah. Okay, she's everything. Spider-Gwen. Yeah, all the stuff like that. So yeah, so people look at it completely different because they were like, oh, she's playing a grown woman role in that one. So that's one way to look at her. And plus, people didn't realize that she actually had like some black blood in her. Like that wasn't something they made up for the movie. She really does have that. Like one of her grandparents is like half black. So
okay, I did hear something about that. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Eli, I've always looked at her and could tell like something is there. I don't know. That's why when that news came out, it didn't shock me. I was like, I knew it. And
that's something was there. Yeah,
something was there. That's all I'm saying. She got a little,
something was there making your pants tight.
Now I'm blazing. Okay. The Australian version of the NFL. No, we barely watch the NFL. What the hell?
Australian version? Is that soccer? You mean soccer?
Rugby or some shit? I don't know. Or whatever going on.
Thanks for listening, though. No, we're not big sports guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening. So but I think Haley Steinfeld knocked out the park. I think she opened it. Now, and the people thinking like, oh, and people were saying like, how is she got into this role? Oh, she's invited to the cookout. No, now we find out she don't need an invite to the cookout. She's already there. So, so a lot of stuff going on.
She's making the cornbread. No,
yeah, she's there. She's cooking fish grease, all this stuff. So yeah. Oh, another breakout, and she's been in like everything, man. She's been in like I said, we talk about Lovecraft Country. This movie did have a very Lovecraft Country feel to it, but she was the hoodoo witch in the movie, and I do like her role. And I see a lot of people saying voodoo. No, it's hoodoo. There's actually a difference between them.
Hoodoo down and voodoo there.
Yeah, voodoo, the voodoo. There's a difference between those
Bone
two.
on a bayou. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny that the hoodoo witch was the one that kind of saved him when it's normally like the priest or the monk or something like that. They usually say the preacher always saves him in these vampire. For people who don't know this is a vampire movie. People didn't know that, but yeah. People are like freaking out, like I didn't know that, but yeah, it is. So it's funny that the hoodoo witch is the one that knew everything and saved them going through the movie. There was no preacher there, there was no priest or anything like that. So yeah. So all this thing with that. So what I'm trying to say about this movie, that if you go into this movie and you want to see a vampire movie and that's all you want to do, the movie gives it to you. Ryan Coogler is good at giving you what you want. You know, just like with Black Panther. If you want to go see a superhero movie, he gave you a superhero movie. That's what you wanted. But just like Black Panther and just like Sinners, it's layers to this shit. It's another movie underneath this movie.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of stuff he got going on with that, to the point where, yes, it's a vampire movie, but the vampires, if you really think about it, they're more like an analogy or a metaphor for something. The monster is a metaphor. It's just like when we talk about Godzilla -1. What Godzilla was, you know, a metaphor for trauma or PTSD or war in general. Where the vampires are, you know, for seduction, you know,
Robin of culture.
Robin of culture. We can talk about that
the
also.
Vulture,
Yeah,
the vultures. You remember the vultures? The culture vultures. We'll get into symbolism later.
We're gonna get into that later on. I didn't want to jump the gun on that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Who lives under your nose?
A little man named Tony.
I got that reference. Eli. I don't know what that is. Okay. So yeah. So that's the whole point of that movie. So you got all the stuff like that. You got all the symbolism going on in there. Like when you really watch the movie, the frames there, like no wasted frames in there. Ryan Coogler like really stuff as much as he could into this movie. I love that where the historical, like I said, I'm from Mississippi. So when he filmed I ain't gonna say he filmed the movie. When he set the movie in Clarksdale, Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta, I was like, oh, we're going back to history. You know, when he said things like Mount Bayou, I'm sitting here watching the movie. If we're in the Delta, when we're gonna talk about Mount Bayou, and he brought that up in the movie. I'm like, oh, he's hitting on history.
That's my backyard. No,
not my backyard. I'm a little far away from that. But here's the thing: I have history with people in the Delta. That's how I know. The fact he even called it the Delta is like an inside thing down here. You know, so just the fact that he throwing all this history in here, even the fact that, and I know we're gonna talk about spoilers off, just the fact that he was saying like the twins went to Chicago, that was a reference to the Great Migration, where a lot of Southerners, you know, basically exiled the South and just went to the North. That's why you have so many people in Chicago with relatives directly in Mississippi, and why so many Mississippi relatives have relatives in Chicago. It's a direct line. So yeah, like going from Mississippi to Chicago is actually a straight line in the highway. Like you don't even have to go anywhere. You just drive until you hit Chicago. So yeah, so all that is great on it. Like I said, give you vampire scene, you give you your horror stuff, you give you your sexiness because it's vampires and shit like that. Like I said, and it got all these hit, but at the same time, what they're talking on it isn't what you think it is. It isn't obvious as you think they're talking about it. So, like I said, a lot of people love this movie. A lot of people love the scene. And there's one scene that I'm going to talk about in this movie that pretty much just transcends this whole movie, that just like turned this movie on its head. Like, oh, that's where we're going. That's what we're doing. And that scene was cinema. And I'm going to talk about this scene later on. We're going to talk about that. So, is there anything that I didn't like in the movie? Anything I'm going to knock the movie about? Only thing that I really got only about this movie is that it was very exposition heavy. Like whenever a person showed up and you had all this exposition behind them, and I didn't have a problem because everybody had an interesting story. Everybody had an interesting backstory here, but you got that whole show don't tell thing that you kind of seeing your committee. You kind of could have showed us something instead of just telling us everything that happened.
I do agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, while they're doing us exposition on the people in the movie, they could have gave us more exposition on the vampires. You know, what makes the vampires in this movie different from any other vampire in any other movie? Because it seemed like they're just pretty much saying these vampires are just like every other vampire in every other movie. You know, just follow those rules and that's it. You're like, people are freaking out about the invitation rule. That's in every vampire movie ever.
That's it. Yes, that's been a thing.
That's not something Ryan Coogler made up. You know?
Yeah, when I saw the Lost Boys back in '87. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm old. Yes, I saw the Lost Boys in the theater back in 1987 because I'm old. That scene when Max is trying to get into the house and he's asking Michael for an invite, I turned to my cousin and I said, "You're not supposed to invite a vampire into your house."
Right.
So yes, that is a thing.
Hell,
That's
I think that
nothing
was
new.
in Twilight. I never seen those movies, but I'm pretty sure I think that was in there.
Yeah, it's in a bunch of stuff. That's just one of the vampire rules. That's just
Yeah.
Everybody.
But also, like I said, we could have gave us more lore to see what's going on to separate these vampires of it. Also, Eli, I'm gonna knock it that, like I said, we don't know where the vampires came from. They could have gave us more stuff with the Native American vampire hunters.
I will get into that. Yeah, I would
I
have
know you're
liked
gonna
to
get
see
into
more.
that, but I'm gonna just jump into that also because, like I said,
Are we going into spoilers now, or what?
no, because I want you to do your thing first, and then we're gonna jump into spoilers first. But I was just saying, but that's one thing to knock it over. So, like I said, I'm gonna slap a score on there. I know you don't give a score also, but I'm gonna say 4.5 out of 5. Great movie, best movie of the year. Definitely gonna be in my top 10. And I talk about the layers and breakdowns of what I really want, but I can't talk about it now. I'm gonna just let Eli do his thing, jump into it, and then we'll jump into all the themes and spoileries and all that good stuff like that. So, all right, I know you're over there cracking your neck and all of that.
Well, I'm trying to separate. Yeah, I don't want to get into the symbolism yet and all the
We're just talking
themes
about the surface level movie, not the movie underneath the movie.
That's
just
the
movie
meat.
verse.
That's the meat that I want to get into. But I don't know. I'll try to keep it spoiler free. Okay. I wanted to like this movie more. I did like it. I wanted to like it more. I didn't expect it to do the things that it did.
Mhm.
And fuck it. I'm just gonna let semi spoiler.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of musicals. That's just
I should have said that, but that's Well, okay,
yes.
go ahead.
That's a minor spoiler. I didn't. Now this isn't a traditional musical per se, but there's a lot of musical numbers.
How many songs do you need to be a musical though? That's
I don't know,
the question.
but there was a lot of musical performances in this movie.
Right,
and
that's what I'm saying. Like, does it qualify? Can you qualify this? It was a
like they
horror
don't.
musical comedy.
Yeah, I was. And I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan of that. So when it started to go towards that, I'm okay. This is this isn't what I came here for. I was expecting a more straightforward horror flick, and for me, the horror was a little watered down, and I had to wait for it, and I wanted more horror than it gave. So yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I was expecting From Dusk Till Dawn, and I got Purple Rain.
Well, maybe just a Purple Rain combo. We put them together.
And I like Purple Rain.
Right.
It's just I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting just a straightforward horror flick, So yeah, that's that's me being biased. That's why I'm glad you saw this. And it wasn't just me reviewing it. Because
you would have got in trouble if it was just you by yourself. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
I'm biased. Musicals are not my thing. I'm just not a fan of that. Even ever since I was a little kid in Disney movies, I when they start breaking out in the songs, I check out, and I kind of did that a couple times in this movie.
So you checked out when you watched Wicked?
I haven't seen Wicked.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't like music.
That was a test, Eli. That was a test.
Yeah. So it's like that's why I'm glad you watched it too, so you can give your thoughts, because it's unfair for me to judge a musical when I don't like them.
Right.
It's like saying, "Hey, Leroy, what do you think of the new Napalm Death album?" Right. What do you think of the new Cannibal Corpse, Leroy? Yeah, it's not your thing. So that's why I was like, okay, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it to be. I wanted more of a horror flick, like a straightforward horror flick, and this is more of like an opera.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of like, okay, and I guess, and it kept happening. Like, okay, it's a little bit of a spoiler. Like when they started getting ready for the battle at the end, when they started loading up their weapons, they're in the barn and they're barricading themselves up in the barn, and they're loading up their guns and getting their wooden stakes ready to do battle with the vampires. And okay, here come the vampires, they're coming. And then the vampires are like singing up the street. I'm like, oh man, like, what is this, the Thriller video? Like,
right.
So it was shit like that I kind of found frustrating. I was like, oh man,
You're supposed to be scared of the Irish jig, Eli.
Yeah, the Irish jig. Yes. Oh, that's the new TikTok trend now, man.
Right.
So yeah, that was because of that. I was like a little bit taken back, you know. So I guess, but I was into it. I liked the storyline. I like the plot. I love the characters. I love the performances, the set pieces. This is a great looking movie. The cinematography, you know, it's a very well made movie. It's just a kind of a movie I'm not usually into, you know.
Right.
So it's hard to judge. Right now, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. It might, once we get into the themes and I start thinking about, because I would like to see this again, just so I can see it without the bias. You know, now that I know what I'm getting, because there's a bunch of shit that I noticed. Yes, there's a bunch of Easter eggs. There's a bunch of horror Easter eggs. You know, references to The Shining. You know, references to The Thing. You know, when they're doing the blood test in The Thing. You know, they're doing the garlic test in this. Oh, spoiler, sorry. But yeah, there's a lot of horror tributes in this movie that I was enjoying, you know. So there's a lot to like in this movie, you know. So that's why I would like to see it again, knowing what I'm going into, and then just look at it with, you know, look at the themes and the ideas and the statements, the artists, the artistic expressions, because there's plenty of that. Like you said, there's a lot of layers to this movie. So
yeah,
that's about as spoiler free as I can go.
Okay, I was gonna see if you 3.5 won't get you canceled, Eli. Yeah, that's fine. It's right there. It's right there. But
like, I wanted to like this more. I was really excited. I thought this was going to be the Bitterroot movie. You know,
and that's what I was gonna ask you. Okay, is this the Bitterroot movie? Is this a Bitterroot ripoff?
There's elements of that. There is elements. You know, Bitterroot. For those who don't know, Bitterroot is a comic book about a black family in Harlem in like the early 1900s that are fighting demons. Demons that are like, that feed off of hatred and despair. And because it's the early 1900s, they're kind of feeding off the racism of the time, you know. And so they're a family. They're a family of demon hunters. It's kind of like Evil Dead, you know. So there's like, what's her face? The medicine woman who was who knew all the vampire rules and shit. The one that the one twin was banging.
Right.
That there's like Ma Etta in Bitterroot. She's like the grandmother who knows all the herbs and the healing ways. You know, so there's
let me ask you, did she practice hoodoo or voodoo, anything like that? Did they ever actually say that? They did? Okay.
Yeah, she knew, like, you know, natural holistic healing stuff, you know. And then you had like the badass, you know, demon hunters who were like, you know, the badass dude, you know, and then you have like the big guy. You know, the big guy who, like the Delroy Lindo character, like the bigger, older guy who could throw down, you know. Yeah, it's, you know, all the, you know, those archetypes, you know, the different character archetypes of a team, you know. So you kind of had that. You saw that, you know, which was my theory, like, because they said they were going to make a Bitterroot movie a few years ago, and that Ryan Coogler was going to produce it.
Yeah.
Regina King was gonna direct it, and I believe Michael B. Jordan was gonna be in it. But then it never came out, and there hasn't been news on that movie for a while. So when I saw the trailers to Sinners, I was like, I wonder if they scrapped Bitterroot and just made this instead and turned that into this movie.
Right.
I don't know. That's just a theory of mine, but who knows? I would hope maybe after this movie he can make a Bitterroot movie. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People want Sinners 2 and 3 in their franchise. Just make a
Bitterroot movie. Yeah, cross them over. Same universe. You know.
All right.
So yeah.
So now can we talk about the themes?
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna jump into that. So here's the main theme about this movie. This movie answers ask a question that Kendrick Lamar had asked back in 2011 on the Good Kid, Mad City album. And that question is, what would you choose? Halle Berry or Hallelujah? And that's the thing what's going on right there. Because that is what's going on with our boy Sammy right there. He calls himself Preacher Boy. Now, for those who don't know about this movie, Sammy is the main character. This movie calls himself Preacher Boy. The thing is, the movie pretty much starts after the horror element starts. So it pretty much starts with him having to choose between a Bible in the hand and a guitar in the other hand. And he chooses a guitar. Because and his dad is a preacher, which tells him if you choose a guitar, you're leading down the path of the devil. Now the thing is, for those who don't know that, we got to talk about. Can we talk about music theory for a second, Eli? Can we get into like
let's we both come from music, so
we
let's,
both come.
yes.
We both have music background. Check out all
Yeah.
our albums on Spotify. We're there. But the point is, what we talk about is that with music, and we got to talk about music like back in the 1930s, and basically when you were a musician in the 1930s, or even then, or even now, when we talk about it, we talk about Satanic Panic all we want to, but if you didn't do music praising God or praising the church or praising Christianity, if you do anything else but other than that, you were making secular music. If you're making secular music, you were basically making the devil's music. And the devil's music was pretty much a synonymous with the blues back then. That was saying, so if you're making the blues, you're making devil's music, because most of those blues artists came from, they didn't want to do gospel music anymore. They wanted to branch out and do other things in there. So they did blues. And a lot of times people said when they was making the blues, you gotta remember all the stuff they were talking about. They were talking about sex. They were talking about breaking up. They were talking about romance. And you talk about even music and we're in now. A lot of music now is even more raunchy what it is now. What's that? Wet ass pussy? You know, like it get more of that. Like that's the music we're listening to nowadays. So we even started back then. So you're talking about that. And then the music got played in the juke joints back then. You know what's funny? Like I listened to a few critics, like professional big time critics, way bigger than us and shit like that. Don't know what a juke joint is. Never heard of it. Like, I'm from Mississippi, so I know what the fuck a juke joint is. You know. So the point is, we were down there. There's a thing. So you play the blues, you go into juke joints, and what you happen when you go into juke joints? You get drinking, gambling, fornication. It happens in there. Fighting, drugs. All this stuff goes down in there. Matter of fact, the preachers would call the juke joints the den of sin. Because there was a whole lot of sinning going on. That's why the movie's called Sinners, because it takes place in the juke joint.
The bucket of blood or whatever.
The bucket, yeah, that's what happens in a juke joint. They say it's just nothing but sinning going on in there. And then you're trying to repent the next day. Yeah, you go in there on Saturday, and then you're trying to repent on Sunday in church. You know, you're trying to serve two guys. And that's what our boy Sammy is doing. He's trying to walk that path. He's trying to walk that path where he wants to, you know, be a good son to his father, who's a preacher, but he has to follow this calling. But who's calling? Who's making his calling for him? Is it the devil? Is it Satan? You know, hold on. Let me see what this call is right here. Oh, Twilight's the best vampire movie. I imagine it is. Yeah.
Thanks for your input. Thanks for listening.
I didn't listen to it, but I agree with you on that. Man, it's a whole bunch of we didn't. I'm not gonna click all that stuff. Just keep pointing in, y'all. We appreciate y'all. But the point is, what I'm getting into now, Eli. We talk about musicians and the blues and all stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm not saying that every musician worships the devil or anything like that. But how many stories have we heard about? Like, we grew up watching behind the music on VH1, and we say like these biopics, stuff like that. What happens to every talented musician at the end of the road? Like,
yeah,
Tupac,
it's
Biggie,
fame, and
yeah. Who else we got? Elvis, we can talk about that, which we'll talk about Elvis more in a second also. Pretty much many blues artists we never talked about.
Well, that's the fame. That's fame, and that's, you know,
but you're chasing that. Yeah, you're chasing all that. You're chasing the money. You're chasing fame.
I think,
you're chasing drugs, you know.
I mean, from what I got out of this, especially when it goes to the ending and the very ending, if we want to go into spoilers, but, you know, we had to choose between the church and the guitar. You know, that to me, I wasn't looking at it as good or evil. I was like, music is salvation. Music is God. And he had that gift. He had the talent, you know, that was inherently in him. That was his superpower. You can interpret that was from God or whatever. And that's why the head vampire was after him. He wanted that power. You know what I mean? That's why he was after him. So music was salvation, and music is the universal language, you know, because every culture, that's what unites us all. So the whole viewpoint we were talking about. Yeah. You know, that's, you know, and I think we're getting into deep shit here, but the whole things of culture and robbing of culture, and religion was a part of that. Religion was a part of oppressing certain cultures and outlawing certain cultures, you know. So that's what he had to choose with. And he ended up choosing the guitar in the end, and he lived this life. And, you know, he wasn't rich at the end. He was an old man. And he even said, no, that was the best day of my life, Before all the vamp shit, that was the best day of my life because that's when we were free. Because when for people who, and again, you could probably relate to this, when you play music and you're doing your thing and you're jamming, time stops sometimes.
You're in a zone. You're in a zone like that. You can't. Yes, Eli. I've been on stage and I've had that feeling before a couple times. That's why when he was playing and it felt like he was transitioning everything, I was like, I've been there before. I know what he feels.
Or either performing it or being at a show,
Eli,
and you're just
oh, my fault. I want to go a little bit deeper. Oh, hold on. Well, we said talented musicians.
Yeah. But even just going to a show, being part of the crowd at a show, you feel like
Diddy would be the vampire.
Yeah, but I'm saying going to the show and being part of the crowd and participating in the live performance and all that, and being a part of that, what's going on, and being in that moment, that can feel magical. You can feel one with the universe, where you feel like you're all connected. Because you are all sharing this experience through music. So it's like music is a thing to celebrate life to. And I think that's at the core of the message about what this movie was saying about music. It's just everything else corrupts it. The vampires corrupt it. You know what I mean?
The music itself was pure.
Yeah. It's just everything else tries to corrupt it and poison it and rob it and steal it and appropriate it and, make money off it. And not give credit to the people who did do it.
Diddy.
Yeah. Samples and shit.
Right. Now, my thing about this is that I don't know if you've heard this before, Eli, but have you ever heard that thing where they're saying that musicians are sorcerers?
I listen to metal, man. So
okay, you've heard it. I'm gonna go a little bit deep on that for people that don't know what I'm talking about. So the point is that we live off rhythm. Our heart beats to a rhythm. Boom, boom, boom,
yes.
boom, boom. That's how we live. Now the thing is, a master musician that's good at their craft can basically control your emotion. They can control the rhythm of your heartbeat. They can make you sad. They can make you want to fight. They can make you want to fuck. They can make you want to dance. They can make you want to, I don't know, anything, and that's the thing, that they get to the point that they can literally control your emotions either on stage or record something that stops time, that when you listen to it, you get that same feeling every time. And for some people, that is a magical ability, for people. That's not something everybody can do. And I'm talking about talented music. I'm not talking about your cousin that's on Spotify with that shitty mixtape that only 5 people have listened to.
Oh man, you don't want to hear the band, my band's demo from fucking '96?
I'm not throwing shots. I got some shit in the vault. I don't want nobody to hear.
My ninth grade band demo from '89 and shit. Come on, man.
We're gonna talk about Elvis in a second, but that's the thing about it. So when we talk about, and that's the thing, because they're saying that is pure, and it does feel like when you're in that trance, that moment when you're just feeling it and your time is stopping, it does feel like the ancestors are speaking through you. That's why that's when he was in that scene and he was playing and he was like really grooving and all that weird shit started happening.
Let's talk about the roof is on fire scene. Let's just talk about that scene.
The roof is on fire.
The barn burner.
You got it. Yes.
The barn burner. Yes. The barn burner. Yes. He starts playing a song and it's so fucking cool that, and then the narration comes on and she starts talking about how sometimes music is so good that it transcends and you feel like one with the universe or whatever. Right. It's euphoric and you start, when they said past, present, and future start becoming one. And then you start seeing like the funkadelic guy with the electric guitar. Then you start seeing a DJ with the fucking turntables, and then an MC on the mic and different. And then also like
a girl twerking in the back.
Yeah. And then an old African dance, it's all, again, you're talking about, the ancestors too, you know what I mean? It's all there. You're like transcending the moment, because you're just feeling this joy. This celebration.
You're in touch with the ancestors with
it. Yeah. So that was the scene. I was like, what the fuck?
But I was like, visually, that's just a great scene. That was cinema. That was
cinema. That was like a music video slap dab into a fucking middle of a movie.
Right. And that's the thing. Like a lot of people sleep on that line that Delroy Lindo told him in the before that, like it really got crazy, it was just like, what did he say? They control us with Christianity. Like that's how they control it. But the blues, we brought that from home.
Yeah.
Like that's ours, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why they're trying to take that away from us right now because it belonged to us. So
and that was the vampires. The vampires were he was trying to get into the juke joint and steal the culture.
And steal the culture.
Suck
That's why I
said
the that vampire was a record label exec. That's all he was.
yeah, stealing, and that's to me that's what the message went to. For me, that was the biggest theme. Like this movie is basically about how Black people's music and art has been ripped off,
right?
You know, and homogenized and sold, and you know, and white artists got rich off of it.
Right?
You know, the Rolling Stones. A bunch of white boys who named their band after a Muddy Waters song made millions. They're still alive.
They're still alive. All the drugs you can think of, they're still out there doing this stuff. So
yeah, like you know, they got rich off of naming their band after a Muddy Waters song. Muddy Waters, died poor. Charlie Pat, name them. Robert Johnson, all died poor. You know, but all these white artists got rich off of ripping them off, you know. So that's like, to me, that was the point of the movie, you know.
And matter of fact, let's talk about the main vampire for a second, Remick for a second. Now, he was charismatic. And now I want Ryan Coogler to be very careful because he's being very dangerous with what he does. He always make his villains so charismatic that people don't know who to root for halfway through the movie. Like Killmonger, like, but maybe he's the hero of this one. I've heard a lot of people, Eli, saying that he was right. No, He was a fucking villain. He was the devil.
Yeah.
The whole point of the movie, now people saying, okay, he wasn't devil, he wasn't evil because he was with the KKK. He was with the KKK. Okay, just because he wasn't the KKK doesn't mean he wasn't evil. Now, and I'm gonna go a little bit deeper with that, Eli, because you want to break down. Okay, we got the Republican, you got the conservative whites, you know, MAGA, Republican. They will straight up tell you that they hate my black ass to my face. They will just straight up say that, you know. And you know what? And I appreciate overt racism sometimes to a point. You know, they let me know what I'm dealing with.
They're honest.
On the flip side of that, you have the liberal whites. The liberal whites are the ones that will get cool with you, and then take what you have, assimilate everything you have into their thing, and all of a sudden now you're left with nothing. That's the ones we're talking about. That's the Elvis we were talking about. That's where you get what's that dude name? Post Malone or Iggy Azalea, or that's where you get Billy Ray Cyrus ripping off the electric slide and selling to white people as the Okie Dokie or whatever, the Egg Breaky or whatever you call it.
Yeah, Pat Boone covering Tutti Frutti by Little Richard. It's a fucking sin.
They do this all the time. But first thing they do is that they infiltrate the culture. That's how they get in. That's why he wants to be let in.
Gwen Stefani's going through it right now, you know.
Right.
She robbed black culture, robbed Mexican culture, was dressing as a cholo and all that shit, you know. But the real cholos, they'll deport their ass. But they are, like I said, they want our rhythm. It's okay when Gwen Stefani does it.
Right. And that's what the movie was getting at. So yes, just because he was charismatic and just because he was dancing and doing the Irish jig and just because he was against the KKK also doesn't mean he was on our side. He is the devil. The devil will seduce you any way he can, tell you anything you want to hear to let you through the door, to get in the door.
And he was tempting them. He even said, like, he was like, hey, my people, he was Irish. They were colonized by Christians as well. And he said at the A, my people went through the same thing you guys did. You know, my people got colonized and killed and, you know, same way as you guys, you know, and we are the same. He's basically trying to say,
right.
Join me.
And it was funny when he said that, because at the end, when Sammy was caught by Remick and he started praying out loud, you know, but then Remick said the same prayer back to him. He was like, that's not going to save you. Because the same prayer that they gave you to protect you, that's the same prayer they told me right before they kicked my daddy off my land.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing about it. People are saying, like, is this movie condemning Christianity, or is the movie even blasphemous, or even the movie even questioning Christianity? Now, some people say the fact that even question it at all it's blasphemous. But I
Yeah.
do want to say one
Yeah,
thing about this,
Christians will say that. Yeah.
Christian will say this, yeah. But the point is, I did notice very much in this movie that nothing of Christianity saved them anywhere in this movie. Now we've seen between me and you, Eli, we've seen our fair share of vampire movies, and we always got this. You know, it's always a cross or holy water or something there that will save them from vampire. None of that was here. First off, they was in a juke joint. There's not gonna be a cross or holy water in a juke joint. You know?
That was the garlic. It's nature.
It's nature, right?
Yeah.
So everything that saved them wasn't of God.
Was the things that nature, which was always condemned by the church.
Right.
You know.
Well,
you know,
hoodoo fans say hoodoo is considered devil worshiping by the church.
Yeah.
Like it's straight up devil worship. Like if you believe in that, you're a devil worshiper.
Or any kind of indigenous healing ways. Those were blasphemous and heathens and shit. You know, but that was just all nature. That was all natural remedies and natural herbs and natural minerals that in most modern medicine, most of the ingredients in modern medicine, you know, are indigenous to these two continents, you know. But because the medicine people and these healers were doing it, and you know, they were heathens. They were considered they were condemned by the church and called witches and stuff, you know.
Right. Which they call her in the movie also. So
yeah. But they're just healers. They're just natural healers.
Even the guitar was the same thing that led the vampires to them. Was the same. The guitar was the thing that saved them because it had silver in it.
Yeah.
And so
and then because his musical talent, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like it was all about this movie went into the origins of certain art, like black music and black culture, American black culture, you know, how the blues started here, rhythm and blues and jazz and gospel, how, you know, the slaves started that here. You know, it was influenced by a lot of things, but it started here, and that, you know, those origins are here. Yeah. The guitar is like the evolution of like what the banjo, which came from Africa or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like the banjo was like the black folks on the plantation were playing that, you know, before it became
Gloria. You should go see it. Yeah.
You know,
before it became, but
before it became the bluegrass instrument. You know what I mean? Before white folks got a hold of it.
Before they took country and then they just tried to do their own thing with the song.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what this movie was paying homage to, the origins of American music. You know, the blues, rock and roll. You know, blues led to rock and roll, which led to and jazz, which led to, you know, metal, and which led to hip hop. Like, it's all an evolution, you know, of how it all started from the blues. You know, which I thought was one of the things I did like about that. The statements that I did like, you know,
even though you hate musicals, but
even though you know, I just dug that because that is true, you know. And that's what the vampires were doing. They were trying to rob the black culture, you know. And the origins of blues, you know, it's all. And let's get to the Native Americans. So
okay, yeah.
So they showed
I had
up
some thoughts about that also, but
yeah, they showed up and they were like, you know, once they saw because they were chasing the vampire, and then they saw him run into the KKK house. They're like, all right, later, y'all.
Right.
He's your problem.
And that's what I think. That's what I think it boiled down to. Like, they got him the fuck out of their community.
Yeah.
So that's on y'all at that point. He's done with us. And it's funny that why couldn't he infiltrate the Choctaw community? That's why I wish they could have dug into that a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I was hoping the natives were going to show up at the end, like, you know, roll up on the set and like, oh, here he is, and like, let's get
right.
But, you know,
they just
but just have them in there, and because you know, blues does have indigenous roots. You know, the plantation, you know, the black folks were mingling with the natives, and they were sharing influences. Those African influences were mixing with the native influences. You know, so like, just the native drumming. You know, it's not bum 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 bum, but like, you know, that's stereotypical shit. The real native drum is bum 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 bum. It's like a heartbeat, and that's the native drumming style. Boom boom boom, boom. How does blues go? Da na na na, boom, 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 na 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 na, boom, boom. So that, like, again, it influenced them, you know, and that's what led to blues and the creation of all these different, you know, musical styles. So I like that Ryan Coogler did include at least some native representation in there, you know.
Right.
So that's what I liked about it too. And
he also had Asian representation in there, which actually was very important to the movie.
Yeah,
It had to. I didn't notice it at first. Okay, like I said, they were in Clarksdale, Mississippi in the 1930s. Jim Crow. It was segregated.
Mm-hmm.
And when they was in the main town, one side of the town was all black, and the other side of the town was all white. Meanwhile, the Asian couple, the Chinese couple, worked on both sides of the town. They could come and go as they please. Because when he said go get your mom, she ran up to the other side. They had one store in the white side of town and one store in the black side of town.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Are you saying? Is that something like a comment on like the Korean stores in the hood or some shit?
I wasn't, but now that you bring that up,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did we just find another layer?
I think we did. Yeah, because I was just rambling, just talking, and I just also. But now that does make sense. That it could have been a commentary.
See, I got to watch this movie.
Yeah, because they love to set up shop in black neighborhoods. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do we got here? Yes, I wanted more. Oh, I already clicked that one. So yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. And like I said, one thing I did do. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I was trying to click something, but I can't find it. Where is it? My fault. Found it. Okay. So all that was going on, like I said, all the fornication stuff like that. And the one person that was also a scene stealer that I didn't get the chance to do it was Jamie Lawson. She was also in it, Perline. Did you notice that he named the club Perline at the end of the movie?
No, I did not.
Yeah. He named Perline. So now all of a sudden, since Jamie Lawson is his breakout star, now guess what everybody's saying? Who she should play? Boom.
Oh,
Boom,
okay.
Of course. Which I've been saying it for the last 2 years. Y'all late, man.
Oh, that's who you were talking about?
Yeah, I've been saying that for the last 2 years, man. She was the mayor of Gotham in the Batman.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. That was
okay.
her. Yeah. Mayor Rial or whatever.
Yeah.
That was her. Also didn't know that. Didn't think that were Korean stores. I guess I don't know. But yeah, that's what's going on.
That's how you said how they played both sides. Like when you said that, you said they played both sides. That's how I thought of it.
Because it was segregated. I mean, because it's segregated. But they come and go in these police, so they literally were playing both sides.
Yeah,
because the segregation didn't affect them.
Yeah, they had money; they could buy their way out. Yeah,
they just go where they please. Yeah. Jake is here somewhere. Where's Jake at? Shout out to Jake, man. My fault, Jake. We ain't been ignoring you.
I can't read this shit. I'm the best.
The best Korean food are in the. How the hell you know, Jake? So that's like anything else we got to add to this, or I think we didn't dug.
Yeah,
we can go deeper, but I'm like at this point,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack. Like, and that's what I did like about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it was a little light on horror. I'm not a fan of the music. I mean, I didn't mind music. I didn't mind the music. I liked the music that was in it, give or take the Irish jig stuff. But which I found interesting when you listen to those lyrics. But but no, I'm just not a fan of musicals. And I'm just, that's just my biased taste. It all comes down to taste, I'm too metal for that. But did you hear the metal riff at one part when the vampires were breaking in? They went jun 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 jun. Jun. There was like that metal riff that started.
Well, I think that was that like right after I guess Sammy opened the portal or whatever the hell he did.
No, like when the vampires were breaking in, when they started fighting and they were breaking in and everyone's getting bit and shot and the whole ending.
Oh yeah, they had like there
was like a metal, like a real a heavy, thick metal riff going on, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to Jake while Jake's trying to clown on me. Yes, Jake, I did watch Gotham, but I wasn't talking.
I watched some Gotham.
I think I watched more Gotham than you did, but yeah, it got stupid after a while. Even I couldn't. I didn't have.
It
went past my threshold, so I know you couldn't make it past that. But I wasn't talking about Gotham. I was talking about the Batman. Yeah. She was also the Penguin, but yeah.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just read. Here's the thing. I just read The Buffalo Hunter. There's a novel by indigenous horror author Stephen Graham Jones. I met him a couple weeks ago. He's on a book tour, and I met him, got my book signed. Nice guy. And this is a book. Buffalo Hunter is about an indigenous vampire back in the 1800s getting revenge on the cavalry. It's fucking awesome. So after reading that, the bar for vampires has been raised high.
That's why this movie left you wanting.
So coming into this movie,
Rocky, you saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, I came in. Yeah, vampires are they got you got to do a lot to impress me on the vampire front. And so when I came in and saw singing vampires, I was like, oh, okay. That's just me though.
I was into the Irish jig, Eli. That's just me. I don't know.
But
My whole crowd was into the Irish jig. When he was doing that, everybody was like,
"Is this going to be like the Rocky Horror Picture Show?"
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Rocky Horror Picture Show, because everybody was like stomping it,
start dancing in the aisles and shit.
But people like nodding their head and people were moving stuff like that. Like, okay, yeah, I know this dude is evil and shit, but this a bop right here, because he had like Afro Irish. I even heard some. And I know you said it wasn't like that with Native American, but I heard some Native American drums and also at least the stereotypical version of it. Also, he was like combining it all together.
Yeah. Yeah, he was doing like the river dance and all that. Yeah. You know,
had everybody like in a circle with him, shit like that. I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. If I was in the club with them that you joined, I was like, let me go out there with them, man. They look like having fun,
doing shots of whiskey and shit.
Yeah, they would have killed me instantly, but yeah,
No, Danny boy.
What do you feel?
I will say this though. I will say this. This movie is way better than that new Nosferatu.
I didn't see that.
Oh God, yeah. So again, after reading that book, I've been kind of in a vampire mood lately. Yeah. So I've been watching all these vampire movies and shit, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen that new Nosferatu yet, and it's on Peacock, so I watched it, and yeah, it was very long.
What do I think about the ending? Oh, okay. I honestly, they don't need to do anything else. I love the movie, but it needs to be a one and done thing. Just move on to something else. I don't want to see a prequel, sequel, video game, comic book, none from this TV show, cartoon. I'm good. I'm fine with that.
You don't want a video game where you can do like a dance revolution?
I mean, you kind of selling me on it, but you get good enough, they come out the house, start dancing, then you can eat them and shit, yeah. But no, but what do I think about the ending? That's another thing about the ending. Okay, like you had, hopefully everybody stayed for the two endings they had.
Yeah.
One ending where it was revealed that, one of the brothers was still alive with Haley Steinfeld. They let him live the whole time. But the second ending after that really got me, because it kind of summed up the whole movie, because you had Sammy singing a gospel song, but remixing it with blues.
On the blues,
so this whole God, devil, good, evil thing going on. Like that's him walking that line.
And he's letting his light shine, because that's his power. Yeah. That's his talent. He chose to be who he was. Right. He wasn't gonna like repress his talent, repress who he was, because of religious dogma or religious ruling or whatever. This is who I am. I'm going to be free and be who I am. He's choosing his path.
Right.
So
even though they kept warning him that
you can read all kinds of shit into that. That's this little light of mine,
Yeah. So it's a lot. The movie, I don't think the movie is condemning Christianity, but it's leaving it very open-ended for your own interpretation. Everybody's telling him that he should do this, he should do this, and he's like, no, I'm gonna just do this. Even his gangster cousins telling him you should do this. Go to my bayou, go to Little Rock or something like that. He's like, no, I'm gonna chase this dream, even though I know I'm so good at it. I summon demons and shit, but at the same time, I'm so good at it. I summon demons. I should chase this dream. So shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
my favorite scene though was the scene with what's his name? Not Biscuits. What was his name? The bouncer.
Biscuit. Oh no, cornbread. Yeah.
When he was like, "Hey, you can let me in," and they were like, "Yeah."
You can just walk your big ass through. What you just thinking?
I had to take a shit. Like, yeah, this movie was funny. I was laughing a lot. I did have a good time. So I'm not like trying to like.
It was a horror comedy musical.
Yeah, I was entertained. It did entertain me. It didn't get too. Yes, I was taken back by all the musical numbers, because it's just not me. It's not my thing. But I was entertained throughout. I did like the movie. I did like the characters. I thought everybody crushed it. So yeah. How about a 3.8 out of 5?
We don't work that way. We don't work like that.
It's all even.
Yeah, it's all even. We don't do that 7.9
Well,
out of
3.5 ain't even.
Close enough. Yeah. Featuring my wife Haley. Oh yeah, Haley. Yeah, she was. Yeah, Jake. She was. You're gonna look at it differently in this movie.
Yeah, she was cool. She was cool.
Let me say, I can see why that dude from
She had some
Spider-Verse,
cool lines too. She was talking some shit.
She was talking some shit. Well, if you don't get your ass out of here and get the fuck out of my face, I'm like, just Haley, okay. That black side has started to come out. Okay, I see it.
You can rob. What she says about you can rob all those trains.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Oh man, yeah,
that was a great line. That was a great line.
I laughed my ass off.
Oh man. All right. Let's see. When Cornbread was outside.
I got to get my glasses, man. I can't read any of this.
Yeah, I gotta see this also though.
Sorry, folks, we're old.
Honey came on the car to. The husband. Yeah, that was a funny scene. That was a funny scene right there.
Yeah.
Also give a shout out to Ryan Kluger because he said he was inspired by the vampire's eyes and shit from Puss in Boots. And I was like, oh shit.
That's what I've seen that. Like something about Sinners and Puss in Boots. I didn't know what the connection was.
And the fact that he he took from Puss in Boots, I'm just like, that's great. Because Puss in Boots had no right to go as hard as that movie did. I love that movie. So I know it's like a DreamWorks Shrek cartoon, but no, I recommend Puss in Boots to everybody. Go watch that movie. So
and he's named John Carpenter and From Dusk Till Dawn. This is basically From Dusk Till Dawn. As far as plot, So there is a lot of horror nods in this movie. Like I said, The Thing, the blood test in The Thing. They were doing the garlic test and making everybody eat garlic to see who was a vampire or not. Spoilers. But that's from The Thing. So there's a lot of horror Easter eggs for horror fans to notice in this.
Also inspiration he took, and I should have did this earlier, because one of the posters was this.
Which
came
times.
From Good Times. Yeah.
Good
so
Times.
The original name of this painting is called Sugar Shack. So before it was on Good Times, it was a cover of a Marvin Gaye album.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was on Good Times. But yeah, so it was just nice. So he looked at that painting and was like, I'm gonna make a movie on this.
But that was, back to the themes of, yes, the juke joints were considered a place of sin, but that's also where Black folks could celebrate joy.
Yeah, because they showed what they were doing during the week. Like they were sharecroppers.
Yeah.
They were in the chain gang. Like that, they bust their ass to work. So yes, for this one day or one night, we can have our own thing where we could be free.
We could be free,
and we can't even have that
and be happy. And so, and that's the point of that painting. Black joy. So, yeah.
Awesome. So. Anything we're good talking about?
I think I can do this all night, man.
Yeah, but I got work in the morning, Eli. So
but we can go on. We can move on.
Yeah, we can move on past that. I'm just briefly stuff. We're gonna get to the comic book section. I'm just briefly talk about this. We're gonna talk about The Last of Us. I'm just gonna hop to the video game section.
All right.
Because just briefly, Eli, I think it happened.
Okay.
What I was talking about last week, I think it happened tonight.
I forget what. Someone dies or something?
Yeah, Pedro Pascal, the main character of the show.
Okay, you think it happened? Did you not watch the show?
No.
Oh.
I was watching NBA playoffs, but yeah. But I think it happened because Twitter went fucking nuts and shit like that. So I imagine it happened. So yeah. All right. What else we got? The Batman 2, I think it's canceled.
Yeah, or delay. If it gets delayed one more time, it will be canceled. Yeah.
No. I think it's done. I think they're going to announce it tomorrow. It's done.
Okay.
And
are you going to eat a cheeseburger? Is this a cheeseburger bet?
I didn't bet any. I didn't.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Man, I think James Gunn is going to announce his Batman going forward.
Oh yeah.
And so that being said, we also can we talk about Fantastic Four briefly? Talk about trailer. See, we on Pedro Pascal.
I thought you had to go to bed.
I did. I'm up now, man. I call in.
You want to get into this shit?
briefly, man. We're gonna hit some high bullet points and move the fuck on. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hold on before we get into it. Let's see what Jake got.
Wait, Fat T's texting me. Why aren't you in the chat, Fat T? He's like texting me.
Like
You're making me leave the phone. Yeah, you're making me leave my phone. Y'all should do a super chat. They have to pay to get in the screen. Oh,
we don't qualify for super chat. Damn it! You think I wouldn't do that? I didn't mean to yell at Fat T, but still.
Yeah, man, we need more followers.
We need more followers to do that. We don't qualify for super chat, so
yeah.
But anyway, Fantastic Four. Let's talk about Fantastic Four.
Okay.
All right. So, like I said, they actually dropped 2 trailers. Like I said, they dropped the Thunderbolts trailer, which nobody gives a shit about. But they also dropped Fantastic Four at the same day. So we're gonna talk about Fantastic Four. Let's see. Hopefully, I don't know what I did with it. Is this it? That's it. The Thing. Okay. I just like this outfit. Whatever we talk about this movie, Eli, I just want to say what they did with The Thing is great. Every shot I've seen of Thing is great. That's worth seeing the movie alone because of The Thing. Like that is, I'm between we be proud. So yes. That being said, they've also showed the first clip of whatever. Yeah.
Juno.
Yeah. So
and her rich history in comics, how she's been around since the
now if you say anything wrong about it, you're a piece of shit incel.
Oh, you crying baby nerd.
So we can't say it. So we're not allowed to say. So we have to be very careful what we say about the Eli. Otherwise, they will stick us in the algorithm with the other people, and we don't want to go there. Even though they get way more views than we do, we don't want to be over there. So, but can I briefly say one thing?
Yeah.
That it might get us in trouble? Okay. Looking at this picture, this is a perfect example of everything about the MCU with this decade. That's all I'm going to say. Can we move on past that?
No, I got something to say.
Okay. Oh, you going to get us canceled? Okay, go for it.
Yeah. For everybody, all these motherfuckers whining about how, everybody whining about that shit. They ain't real comic book fans. Well, there was a part in the trailer that I laughed my ass off. Now, if you're a comic book fan, you'll get this reference. When it was revealed that Sue is pregnant.
Yeah.
And Johnny goes up to Reed and goes, "You're going to be the best dad." Just kidding. I laughed my ass off. And if you're a comic book fan, you know why I laughed my ass off.
Right. Now, people are wondering, like, what's going to happen to that baby? The baby's going to be fine. That's Franklin Richards.
Both babies. Oh, yeah. They're not twins, are they? Were they twins?
Nah, it was Franklin had it first, and then Val came later on after Dr. Doom delivered her and like that.
All right.
So, like I said, I don't care what they do. If adult Franklin Richards from the future shows up and kicks the shit out of Galactus, and that's how the movie ends, this movie's a 5 out of 5 for me. No, it's an 8 out of 5 for me if that happens. I don't give. They can commit any sins they want. I don't care. Just give me that. Oh, okay. Yeah. We're not gonna get into that. We're gonna move on past that.
Why? Why is the sky blue?
Right. We're not gonna get into
Why
that.
is water
we don't want to show up into those algorithms. So we're gonna keep moving. Because the last video we did, we talked about Eli, that's still circulating. So I don't want us to get into that. So yeah. That being said,
and of course they didn't listen to anything we said.
No, they just saw that and just jumped onto it.
They're just like, these assholes. Fuck these assholes.
Like, hell yeah, they're speaking the truth. They're one of us. Like, no. All right. Can we move on to the next part of the
podcast? Sure.
Okay. Like I said, we're here. This Comic Bullies, where we talk about comic books. We're gonna jump into it. Eli gave my books to me. I'm gonna jump in, see what you got, and whatever you want to start off with first. So 1 minute. Yep, it's that time of night. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Why don't you read a comic, man?
Right. Hey, don't forget, Black Panther's a chick now too. So.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't leave that out.
Yeah. Hulk is Asian or was Asian, is Asian.
In the comics, they was like, even that one, we can't make that work. Let's just leave that.
He's red now.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's woke. Yeah.
It all fucking
not my Hulk.
Yeah. If you look at him under the red, if you look at the Red Hulk under the right side of the light, he's pink.
Gay Hulk,
So take that, motherfucker.
the Bi Beast, which is a Hulk villain.
Oh man,
Okay, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, comics. Let's talk
comics.
about- Yeah,
Y'all can leave now because we're gonna talk about
right. Oh shit. So all right, so which one you gonna jump in first?
Should I do this Hulk versus Godzilla versus the Hulk?
Gaza versus Hulk. Okay. I want to see.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, wrong one. I meant to
So-
click this. Okay.
So last week or a couple weeks ago was Hulk versus Fantastic Four, which was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And now we have the Hulk. Hulk is fighting Godzilla. So Thunderbolt Ross, he's basically a kaiju killer. He's trying to get rid of the kaijus and he's trying to hunt down Godzilla. And he basically, what's that spider monster's name? I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, he has the spider monster fuck up Mothra to attract Godzilla. Godzilla shows up to protect Mothra, and then Thunderbolt Ross has two Mecha Godzillas and goes and starts fighting Godzilla. In one of the Mecha Godzilla is Bruce Banner. And so there's this big fight. You know, Godzilla versus a couple of the Mecha Godzillas versus what's his name? Dr. Dominicus. He says, I have a secret weapon I've been working on. And then he's got this pile of black goo. I'm like, uh-oh. Is this a symbiote?
Knock the devil in.
Are they gonna have a Godzilla symbiote?
Mhm.
No, it is not a symbiote. The black goo is like oil sludge. It is Hedorah, the smog monster. One of the most fucked up, weirdest Godzilla movies. Godzilla versus Hedorah, the smog monster. A monster made out of pollution and oil and garbage and sludge. You know, just a big giant garbage blob. That's what he created. You know.
So they made it think they're going one way, they went this way. Okay.
Yeah. So then now you have Hedorah in the mix. You know, fighting Godzilla in the battle. Bruce Banner gets fucked up in the Mecha Godzilla suit, and he hulks out. You know. Now the Hulk is there and he's trying to fight Hedorah, but Hedorah is like a blob and Hulk's trying to punch it. He's like punching away. It's like fighting Jello, you know? So he ain't doing shit. Meanwhile, the Hulk is all fucked up. So Godzilla is all fucked up. So Hulk goes over there and grabs like a bunch of electric lines and starts reviving Hulk with electricity. While he's doing that, Hedorah had make Hulk bleed. And so Hulk bleeds into one of Godzilla's wounds. And Godzilla gets Gamma from Hulk. So then Godzilla hulks out. So now you got Godzilla Hulk.
How does that even work?
Yeah, so I don't have. Oh shit! Should I grab that picture? I don't have it on me. There's a panel of Godzilla with like big giant muscles and shit. And he ends up kicking the shit out of Hedorah, and it ends and all that. So just fun, just campy, stupid fun. That's all these books are. You know, Godzilla fighting giant monsters, and then Hulk shows up and fights alongside with them, and you know it's worth it just for Gamma Godzilla Hulk, or Hulk Godzilla.
Right.
So this is fun. 4 out of 5. You know.
Okay. Do you know what the next book they're gonna do?
I think it's Spider-Man. Is it? No, Thor. Right?
Yeah, why would Spider-Man fight Godzilla?
Godzilla
I know how that would win.
Godzilla versus Thor, I believe.
That'd be a little bit more fair because Spider-Man. I don't see how that's gonna work out. But
yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, a lot of fun. 4 out of 5.
Just give me a second. I'm getting set up. Okay, we're over here. All right. So the next book I'm going to do. Well, first book I'm going to do is boom. World's Finest. I hadn't read this book in a while since they fought the devil Nasia. Actually, we've been mispronouncing that, Eli.
Okay.
The reason I know we were mispronouncing it because the biggest movie, the highest grossing movie this year is in China, and it's that movie, The Devil Nasia 2. So
okay.
I never saw Nasia 1, but it's the biggest movie ever. So yeah. All right. Anyway, World's Finest. We're there. Batman and Superman. This is a crossover with the Justice League Unlimited book. This is the first book in that crossover. So we're gonna find out what's going on with that. And hold on, I'm gonna get it set up. Boom, there we go. Is it set up? No, that's wrong. Boom, that's it. Okay, there we go. All right. So the book starts off with it. Basically, Mark Waid is doing a return of the Legion of Doom. Legion of Doom all doing all kind of weird shit right now, but he's bringing them back. So that's what the book is about. So let's get to it. So the book starts off with, like I said, all these Batman, Superman, World's Finest books, they're kind of like in the past. So they're not like new right now. So anyway, you got this plane going right now, flown by Hal Jordan, and you got Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne are overseeing the plane because Bruce Wayne hired Hal Jordan to fly a plane for him. He was just like, I'm surprised you, because basically he's gonna make it. He's basically testing out his new bat plane, but he don't want anybody to know that. So yeah, and he's basically telling him, okay, aren't you worried that Hal's gonna do some reckless shit? He's like, nah, I'm not worried about Hal, because if he gets arrested shit, he'll just become Green Lantern and just save himself. And he was like, oh yeah, he doesn't take the Green Lantern ring with him when he's in the jets. He like that takes away half the fun. He like, what? He's flying my plane without a Green Lantern? Like he might crash this shit. Like yeah. So he's flying. Something happens, some weird shit happens to it. He gets something, he can't control it, and bam, the plane explodes and he jumps out of it. So yeah, he was like, damn. Clark Kent uses his whatever vision. He was like, don't worry, I'll go scoop him up. But before you scoop him up, Hal disappears. Like, where the fuck he went? And then he comes back on screen and it is Gorilla Grodd, because apparently Hal Jordan flew into Gorilla City. So yeah, and they hold him hostage. So yeah, anybody take over the world. So Superman Flash goes there. This is actually the first time they've met Gorilla God, met Gorilla City, also like that. They're going to rescue Hal Jordan before there's an international incident. They go there. I'm going to skip all this bullshit. Fuck that. They go there. They find a bunch of gorillas. Gorillas point guns at them. Superman and Flash look at them crazy. They're like, that shit ain't going to work. And they just take guns out of them and shit like that. Flash takes Batman, like, let's go just find Soliver, the king, and rescue him. And they said, we'll leave Superman. Superman's getting shot at. He's like, go take McGraw. And they were like, oh, Superman, we got something for you. Like me? Yeah. And it is Titano. Yeah. This is a thing. The ape with the kryptonite eyes. It's a Silver Age thing. Just know it's a thing. We don't get move past that. Anyway, shocking them. Also like that. Point is, we're doing all this shit. Grodd uses his mental abilities to take over Superman. Now, evil Superman. Fucking up everything. Wants to destroy everything. But before they do that, they use Titano. Batman takes over Titano and hits Superman in control of Grodd. But they know he can't kill him, so Grodd's like, I'm not going to give it up. But that's when Soliver kicks him off the king, and he does it. He's like, I'm going to kill him. And you're like, nah. So Flash takes Grodd, and Speed forces him into Superman to make them switch bodies back and shit. And Superman like plucks him outside of some shit, and yeah, that's it. So they throw Grodd in jail, and that's it. But that's when Grodd from the future teleports to Grodd from the past and takes over his mind. So now Grodd from the past knows the future. To be continued. So
okay,
yeah, that's it. So that basically the Legion of Doom is getting the band back together. That's the whole point.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's what's going on. So next issue, I think it's gonna be Lex Luthor or Captain Cole or I don't know, some bullshit. Yeah, but yeah. 3.5 out of 5. It's what you expect. These books are always what you expect. That's you just want to get in, just see some shit, get in and see some shit. So yeah. All right. What you got next?
I will do. What do I got next? What the hell was I doing? I just lost the thing. Oh, Mothra. I'll keep it on the kaiju kick. Okay. So Mothra, Queen of Monsters, #2. This might be my book of the week. This was really cool. The art's cool. I'm digging the story.
Issue 1 was your book of the week when it happened.
Yeah, this is like the art. The art is really cool. So basically, what's going on? These two twins, they survived this sort of monster apocalypse where their city was destroyed by by Antra, this giant ant monster. Their parents were killed. The one girl thought the daughter was killed. Her sister was killed too. But it turns out, and then for 15 years, she's been surviving this city, like apocalyptic cityscape. But then it turns out her sister was still alive, and she has the Mothra twins. What are they called? The Shinjubu or whatever. And Say, hey, you guys have magic. You guys are like the next in line to be the Mothra twins. You guys got to learn to sing and teach you how to, bring forth Mothra. And then they go back in time, to go get a Mothra egg, And so that's where this book starts out. They're in back in the prehistoric times, dinosaurs getting chased by dinosaurs and shit. And they find a Mothra egg and okay, now you need to transport this back to your time. And you got to do it through song. But because, these sisters haven't seen each other and they're arguing and they're mad at each other, they're not in tune with each other. So their song, when they start singing, their song is off. So they open a portal, but they don't go back to their time. They go back 15 years before their time. And in through the portal, bring forth a bunch of the Megaceros. Megaceros is also another Godzilla, like a giant dragonfly, another Godzilla villain. So a bunch of them come through and they realize that they caused the monsters to destroy the city by opening up that portal 15 years before. So they caused it. So there's
like
a
a Terminator time loop.
Yeah, like a time loop and shit. And that's kind of where oh shit, you guys caused the destruction of your city. You caused the death of your parents by not being in tune. You caused all this shit. And now you just opened a portal with all these monsters. And now the Mothra egg hatches. And now you got to protect baby Mothra while she's a caterpillar. So that's where it ends, is they're being chased. They're trying to keep Mothra safe. So another really cool fun.
Save Mothra.
Yeah.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah. So this is cool. I'm really digging the art. I'm really digging the storyline and Mothra. Mothra, I got a soft spot for Mothra. Mothra's like the opposite of Godzilla. Mothra's all about rebirth and life, and because she dies and then reborn and keeps coming back, like the circle of life. And Godzilla's like death and destruction. So yin and yang. So yeah, this was cool. I had a lot of fun. This is a 4.5 out of 5. This was cool.
Okay, cool. This is going to take me a second to set up, but I'm going to keep talking. Okay, so the next book I'm going to do is The Summer of Superman. Okay.
Oh,
Please tell me you didn't buy this.
I didn't. I know. I thought about it.
No. Here's the thing. It was actually on DC Universe Unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
I wasn't going to buy it either. I was just like, nah, I'm not. When I saw it there, I was like, hey, I got an extra book. Okay. So let me see if I can get it, because I didn't buy it. I got to go to another setup. Don't worry, it won't take long. There you go. Bring your ass. There you go. Okay. So, Summer Superman, hold up. Let's click on some things. Let's see what we got here. Sims Boy, give you Corey Galaxy. Shout out to Ian Hernandez, I guess.
Okay. And it says Jenna Ortega is in our chat too.
Oh, shout out to Jenna Ortega. Hey, I was going to say something about Jenna Ortega. Eli, I found a black Jenna Ortega. I will find that for you next week.
Okay.
When you believe, when I show it to you, you'll be like, oh shit. So shout out to you. But yeah. Oh, so all right. Summer of Superman, they got this big thing jumping out. Superman, like I said, Superman got a movie coming out. So DC's putting some big money into it. So they got things. So they got this special coming out with a whole bunch of writers jumping on, and it's supposed to be this thing. So let's just talk about it. I'm gonna just kind of fly through it. It's just whatever. Oh no, go back. Shit, I don't know what I did with it. Where'd you go? There you go. Okay. All right. So, I'm not doing all this shit. All right. So Clark Kent, this is back in Smallville when, somebody save me, all this shit like that. High schools are like that. Prettiest girl in school, Lana Lang, he's in love with her. She's in love with him. He's about to tell her everything, he's going to spend the rest of his life with Lana Lang. And right before he does that, that's when some weird Superman shit happens. No, he's Superboy in this with Crypto. So yeah, this is, I didn't know. Whatever. Okay. Point is, big monster in there. He fights a big monster, but he recognizes big monster because it's from the 30th century with the Legion of Superheroes. So he fights this big monster, and that's when they get sent through some kind of time loop and shit like that. And he actually sees everything throughout time and shit, but he can't remember because the Legion of Superheroes put some kind of thing in his head where if he sees anything in the future, he automatically forgets it because they don't want Superman to know his future because it could like really fuck up some shit, But he sees something that he wasn't prepared for. He sees Lois Lane and he's married to her with a kid. He was like, who the fuck is this? I don't know her. I'm supposed to spend my life with Lana Lang. I don't know her. But we got a kid and we seem to be happy. Something isn't right. So he gets sent back to his present time. And before he tells Lana he loves her and everything like that, he's like, I got to go, man. I got the shits. Clark Kent just makes up shit. So he just leaves. And she's like, I know what's wrong with him. Because in his gut, he feels like she's not the one. Even though he felt it before, now he don't feel it. So, but it's cool. Because years later, she gets married. Well, she gets engaged to Steel. And now the second chapter, they're getting married. Yeah. And the dude shows up again. Well, I don't care.
Almost like on the show.
Like, exactly like on the show. But the show took it from this. So, yeah. So anyway, and then they go back all the time. She was like basically Lana and Clark years later, like, yeah, we were a thing at one time, Clark, but we both met people that were better meant for us. And we're still friends. So that's the best thing both of us could ask for, So they're friends. And they keep going. So anyway, they're big monster. They find out what happened to the big monster. Mr. Terrific finds out where the monster came from, severs the ties, send the monster back where they went to. And that's it. So their thing is, so Superman's just like, well, it couldn't have been that bad because if shit was really, really that bad, the Legion of Superheroes would have showed up and would have saved me. Since they didn't show up, everything's cool. But the reason the Legion of Superheroes didn't show up is because they're in that weird ass dark side time. Dark side they're in that world.
The absolute universe?
The absolute shit. That's where the legions are right now. And they work for Dark Side. They worship Dark Side. Dark Side is all this shit like that. Yeah.
No shit.
So the reason they're the ones that caught that monster and brought the monster back. And like, since we got this monster, we're going to torture it. We're going to use it to torture our captive, Booster Gold. Because remember, Booster Gold got lost in that world.
I don't remember.
Yeah, nobody does. When he got lost in it, they forgot he existed.
I always forget about Booster.
So you're in the dark side world. So yeah, all hell dark side. So yeah, that's the book. That's the opening thing. It is supposed to be like a running story. I don't know where it's gonna go, but yeah, that's what it is. Cool. 3.5 and 5. I'm so glad I didn't buy this. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's like so. What you got next?
I will do G.I. Joe, Silent Missions, Spirit.
Oh, I've been waiting on this. I've been waiting on you to wait on this. You're gonna break it down for me, so yeah.
Okay, so as you know, like last couple weeks or last month now, they've been it's been like every week. These have been weekly.
It's been weekly, yeah.
I mean, they got no words, so it's not like it's So these are a tribute to Godzilla. G.I. Joe number 20 or 21, the silent issue, the infamous silent issue, which was the first appearance of Storm Shadow back in the 80s, Larry Hama. And he released a book with no words. They call it the Silent Shadow or something. And Silent Interlude, that's what it was called. And it was just a book about Storm Shadow sneaking in and rescuing Scarlet, from the Ninja Clan, and Storm Shadow shows up. No words. And they did it because they were behind on schedule. So they thought, well, if we don't print any words, we can skip the lettering process and it will get us back on schedule. So they did. They released it with no words, and it's all visuals, and it became this big groundbreaking thing, and all that. So as to pay homage to that, Image has been releasing these G.I. Joe comic silent missions. We had a Jinx issue, then we had a Beachhead issue. And now we have Spirit, the native G.I. Joe, who they couldn't afford to give him a uniform. And he's a tracker, of course, because of course.
He's got a gun though, right?
He does. Is that a gun? Yeah, he's got I think it shoots darts, but anyways.
Oh, what the fuck, man? Okay.
But he's rescuing animals or whatever. Or something. He's in the woods, rescuing like endangered species or something. And then he finds a truck that's like also like collecting like kidnapping animals or whatever. So he follows this truck back to this like Cobra facility that's doing experiments on these animals and turning them into like robots or whatever. And then a big giant robot comes out and he fights it. So Spirit fights this big robot, and then his bird or Freedom, his eagle, his pet eagle, helps him.
Was it? Oh, I thought it was Spirit.
Freedom.
Freedom.
That's
Okay.
the-
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Spirit is the dude.
Spirit is the dude. Freedom. Okay. I know
Freedom
it was
is the
a toy of
eagle.
one of them, but yeah. Okay.
Freedom is his eagle, and then he destroys the robot, frees all the animals, and they all live happy ever after. And then then he goes to the 49 and snags. I don't know. No, it's fine. I'm not. I never liked Spirit. Even though I'm native, I thought he was corny. I was like, oh, here's the Indian GI Joe, and he's in buckskin and got a crossbow and a bird, and like, why couldn't they give him like
Well,
a
everybody got
some
guns. Everybody else
yeah,
got guns.
yeah. I was like, why
Swords
couldn't-
and
yeah,
ninja stars and
yeah. But this is fine. A little, shows him kicking ass, so I can't complain about that. So it was all right. I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
hold on.
You know.
This is on brand. Okay.
What's that?
Oh, sell your soul, bro. Say you got a good deal for you.
Da-na-na-na. Went down to the crossroads. Speaking of, back to the movie, Charlie Patton. He had Charlie Patton's guitar.
Yeah, Charlie Back guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, and Charlie Patton was part native.
Was he? Okay.
He was, yeah.
Okay.
Choctaw or something, or Cherokee, or Muskogee or something, or Shawnee. I don't know, the Southern tribes. I'm not.
Okay. So nice. Anything else we got, or?
I want to mention the Wolverine 400.
Oh, go for it. Go for it. I didn't get a thing, but go for it.
So I read it. It has. I read. It was Solomon Ahmed's run. I kind of fell off a while ago. About like where adamantium is actually a living force or a living sentient form of energy, and it's like trying to take back all its adamantium. So it's trying to kill like Wolverine and Laura and all that. So most of this issue is a continuation of that run, but at the very end, there's a Daniel Warren Johnson story. And I love Daniel Warren Johnson. For those who don't know and have been listening to us, I'm a huge Daniel Warren Johnson fan. I love his comics. I love his writing. I love his artwork. Actually met him at a con too. But he wrote and drew a Wolverine story about a samurai Wolverine back in feudal Japan.
Okay.
And he is basically getting revenge on the mad emperor or whatever, the shogun who destroyed his village and killed his family. And it just starts out with, this feudal lord, Japanese lord, and in his castle or whatever, and talking about this old man telling him about these spirits of vengeance. They're coming back to avenge their, coming back for vengeance. And they're saying, hey, there's somebody at the gate. And they go look out and they see it's like Wolverine. And he's in one of those demon masks,
Oh, like we saw in Naruto.
Yeah. He's like wearing that, and they're like, we'll kill him. And so they all archers, unleash the archers or whatever. And they all rain a bunch of arrows down. He gets all stuck with the arrows, falls down. And then they look, and then he gets back up. So there's Wolverine all stuck with it. Samurai Wolverine all stuck with arrows. And they go get him. And so they all ride down on him. And the rest of the issue the rest of the story is just Samurai Wolverine slaying samurai. And it's Daniel Warren Johnson. And I love Daniel Warren Johnson's art style. The way he draws action, there's just so much grit and raw and visceral violence to his action scenes. And then at the end he fights the shogun. He fights the lord, and he tells, he's like, you know what, you're too good. A blade is too good for you. You deserve bone and sinew. and then sticks him with his claw. Of course, his claws don't have adamantium on them yet.
Right. They were just bone at the time, so yeah.
So he sticks him with his bone claws, and he's like, "You deserve bone and sinew," and then he shoves his claws into him, sticked. So it was just dope. It's just an action scene. But I want to show you. So I'm gonna jump back on. I'm gonna show. Here I am. Hello, folks. I will show you this panel. Can you see that panel?
Okay. Yeah. Hold up a little bit more. Give us
closer or
closer. Yeah, or up, kind of. There we go.
that?
Yeah, there we go.
So
there we go. Okay.
Wolverine chopping a horse's head off.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. And so what I liked about that is for Lone Wolf and Cub, Shogun Assassin, that is Ito Ogami's sword style. He called it the horse slaying style. So I just thought that was a cool little reference because I love Shogun Assassin is like one of my all-time favorite movies. Lone Wolf and Cub, Ito Ogami, Daigoro. The band that I'm in is named Daigoro, which is his son. That's how much I love those movies, and that's comics. And yeah, so the horse slaying technique is his sword style. So it was cool to see that referenced in this book. So yeah, just thought that was really cool. This is Wolverine 400, so it's a kind of a benchmark, or is that what they call it? A hallmark?
Landmark?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Landmark.
Maybe all of them, I guess.
Yeah, 400. when you reach one of the hundreds in comics, it's considered it's a staple. So yeah, that's all I wanted to show you as an honorable mention. But other than that, I'm booked out.
Okay. Like I said, we gave y'all plenty of show. Y'all wanted me to talk about Sinners. We talked about Sinners. I gave my point of view. Eli gave his point of view. Eli, honestly, your review is exactly what I thought your review was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just like, Eli not going to like this. You're not going to like this. So,
no, I wanted to like it more. It's not like I didn't like it. I wanted to like it more. That's my thing, Because
I like it was a musical. So
yeah.
But that's my shit.
The horror was a little bit watered down. It was like pop horror,
Yeah, and that's nothing. I was just like, okay, there's nothing in here that makes me like wince and groan, anything like that. So I already know Eli's gonna knock it for that. If this retained for me, so yeah. All right. That being said, if you listen this long, if you like, share, subscribe. We're gonna come back next week. If you listen, I want to let y'all know that if you were listening to our older podcast on Facebook and their Infinite Wisdom are deleting them. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah. Anything past 30 days, they're deleting. So they're
no shit.
But that's okay.
We won't get it. Well, next week. I was gonna say we didn't talk about Daredevil.
I didn't want to. Yeah,
and it's probably because I'll probably rant about it.
Yeah. We may talk about Daredevil next week. I really didn't feel like it. We'll be more into it, and then we'll talk about The Last of Us also. But the point is they're deleting all our podcasts except for the last 30 days up. But you can still listen on YouTube and Spotify as long as I make sure I clear up the copyright details, because I got 172 left to clear up. I'll get them before the end of the week because they give me to the end of the week to do it. So
holy shit, really? Damn.
I didn't mean to bring that on you. I'll get it taken care of. Don't worry.
Do you need me to help you with any of that shit?
No. It's behind the scenes shit. I just take care of it. It'll be done. Yeah. It's always some shit. But anyway, until then, this is Leroy.
This is Eli.
We talk to you guys next week. Same bullet time, same bullet channel. Until then, die 1,000 deaths.